Ciao, I am Alberto Bona, the producer of the Ineffable fixing of the Volatile. So I happen to be incredibly lucky to be next door neighbor to the amazing James Laurenson, an absolute legend for stage and TV and film. And it was quite humbling to have him literally as my next door neighbor, meeting him practically every morning, saying hi to him and knowing how he had such an incredible career. And I deliberately avoided watching, knowing his status. I didn't want to get influenced by his work before being good friends with him, if it makes sense. So we just were cordial next door neighbors and then friends for a number of years, and then suddenly we felt during the first lockdown that it was finally time to work together. And I approached him as he started sadly having Parkinson's disease, and he couldn't really deliver lines with his amazing voice. I said to him, how would you feel about a silent film? And he was thrilled about the idea of A, being again in front of the camera, and B, not being worried about lines. And so I presented him with this idea about this abandoned building that is in Somerset, and it's an old dovecote, and I had this prop that my brother brought back from Shanghai ages ago with this automaton mechanical bird, and I said, how about a friendship between you and this mechanical bird? And he named him Nigel for some reason. And so I thought, that's fantastic, already having a name, and what does Nigel represent for you? And so he started telling me, and I said, no, don't tell me. Tell with your eyes the story to whoever watches the film. You don't even have to tell me. You need to know who's Nigel for you. And as it just happens, in between lockdowns in 2020, we just climbed this hill, and which for him was an incredible task. It was like the mission, literally, for him. And we spent the whole day. I set up creating this scenery. It was just an abandoned ruin. And I had a guy that did all the hard work, bringing everything there. He was amazing. And I prepared coffee with my special espresso machine in the car. And so, anyway, magic just happened. I gave him the binoculars. I told him more or less what I wanted, and I didn't have to really direct. He just told the story with his eyes. As I said, I still had goosebumps. And then, however, there was something missing in the story. It was too short, and I felt there was so much more. And I then waited and waited. Unfortunately, more lockdowns, and then he was unwell. And finally, 3 years after the first take, I said, how do you feel if we do pickups and close-ups and second unit footage? And he said, absolutely. So we did everything at my studio. And so it's two separate locations. You would never know, hopefully, that is the case. And so we got the same hat, the same makeup, the same scarf, everything, tried to be absolutely spot on for continuity. And then I said to him, how would you feel if I actually became you as a young man, and you start remembering how you found Nigel? And he said, go for it. And so I found this old windmill, and so, yeah, we did this flashback scene, and then finally managed to show him a rough cut. He gave me his blessing, and suddenly, a few weeks later, he was gone.
Did you have the name and then you thought the film, or you had the film and then you gave it the name? How did that come about?
I felt strongly, once I had the rough cut, that there were multiple layers of interpretation of this. And photochemical, which sometimes is called analog. I mean, analog is photochemical, but not vice versa. So when you use the medium of film, it's photochemical, and so there is chemistry. And to me, that's the closest thing to the old concept of alchemy, the beginning of medicine, really. So the concept is that of transmutation. And so the fixing of a volatile, effectively in alchemical terms, is the refinement of the impurities that then lead to find gold. In a sort of spiritual way, which is what counts ultimately, the real gold is when you finally refine your own soul and you elevate yourself. And after all is the act of creation. So to me, there's such an incredible beauty in the idea of having this vase, the alchemical vase, where you have negatives made with emulsion which has silver, and you transmute that silver through light into images, and that to me is the magic of cinema. And the title represents that ineffable concept. It's too abstract and too big to be represented in real words. That's hopefully what it's all about.
Thank you very much.